You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after this question from our characters.
At some point during the ongoing palaver that we have, he leans over to Tychus. I imagine it's a calm before the storm type thing. Kay's piloting. Tychus is probably fiddling with something that's not going right in the transit van of a spaceship that we're driving at the moment. And he says, Tychus, my friend, if and when we all get out of this and we stop having to stop the Hutts from becoming gods and people leave us alone, what would you do? Once everything stops being crazy, what's what you want? What's the goal? Because I'm thinking myself about what I want after all this. And you always have good ideas.
Well, that's very kind of you to say so. I'm not always convinced my ideas are perhaps the finest, but, they seem to be working so far. 1 second, and he leans over and bashes a few buttons, and suddenly some red lights on the life support systems in the Grebnaks turn back to blue, and there's a bolt of cold air that washes around our survival suits. Where was I? So for, so long, my dream was to go to Eriadu and open up another franchise of Bars Bespoke blasters, Yeah. Eriadu's the new up-and-coming place, It's lawless enough that I won't feel out of place there, but there's enough money coming in that, I'll be able to charge good money for good product. I don't want to be like the next Blast Tech and just churning out cookie-cutting weaponry off the peg stuff. You know me, I like to put...
Quality rather than quantity, I get you.
Aye, I want to put a bit of uniqueness and spin on everything I do. And I kind of think that maybe that is still... Certainly, I don't want to go back to Kina Bale. I mean, it was always a criff hole. But now I've been off there and I've seen other places. Just the amount of water there is in Syria has opened my eyes to what a place I've been living in. Now, I'm not saying that I want to go and live in Syria, because I don't think I do. It's too...
We don't fit in here.
We don't. It's not my kind of people. No offence, Doc. It's not my kind of people. So, I don't know, maybe still Eriadu. I don't think I want to go out of Rim, because it's trying to find that balance between not having the oversight of the Empire or a load of red tape, but also not being in a total lawless dreck pit. I want a wee bit of protection, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to be confident storing the materials I need to make the blasters and weapons that I want to make. I'm also thinking, I don't think I'm going to go into, starship design or anything, because, I've done alright with the Grebnaks, and we did okay with the Fire Opal, but armour as well, maybe? I'm not even sure I want to get into the droid trade, because, again, while I can make them, I don't know, it just kind of...
It's not your passion.
It's not, and, Mum and Dad, it was their trade, their vocation for so long that they're quite happy building droids and giving them life and then selling them to whoever wants them. But it's a bit more spiritual for me, giving life to a droid. TBC is one thing because I know and trust the Doc, and I know that the Doc will look after him like his family, and obviously there's Roy, and 455, he's more like I suppose he's not clever enough to be kin, because he's a pit droid, and there's a limit to how clever a pit droid can be.
But he's alive.
He's alive, he's still family.
Yeah.
And I don't think that'd sit well with me building droids for people that I didn't trust to care for them as people rather than tools. But everyone likes a gun. So yeah.
Eriadu, your own business, family.
Yeah.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
Sounds really nice.
Yeah. And I'm gonna need partners. I cannot do it all by myself, especially if I'm in the back, building the stuff. I might need someone to do front of house, or to help me with the shipments, or to fly me around and stuff. So
I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but whatever I do, I think I want to be around family. And he just puts his hand on your shoulder.
Well, there'll always be a place for you at Bars Bespoke Blasters, no matter where we end up setting up.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah. And he smiles. He doesn't smile very often. It's kind of an awkward kind of thing, but you can see him smiling with his eyes rather than that disappointed grimace he tends to do at times.
Yeah. And Tychus leans over and pats you with one of his other arms. And then there's a beeping sound, and suddenly all four of Tychus' arms are flying back to the consoles that surround him in his little life support pod.
Yeah, Tychus, it's probably not important right now, but when you get round to it, obviously do the life support first. We can't turn left. I've just been going all the way around in a circle right for the last hour and a half. So when you got to say.
Right. Oh, okay. I'm on it.
Life support first.
Yep.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ed Fortune, and I will be wizard, storyteller, whatever, person who's helping people tell a story. A wonderful game of Force and Destiny. The campaign is called Shadows of the Jedi. You know this by now because you're at episode 18. But I couldn't run a story, I couldn't run a game without some lovely friends, so I'm going to get those lovely people to introduce themselves. That's you guys.
My name's Adam. I'm going to go first. I'm playing Tychus Bari, Basilisk Guardian Armourer, whose emotional strength is his bravery and whose emotional weakness is recklessness.
You are very brave.
Very brave. I'm the bravest.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I play Dalen Kyrain, also known as K. He is a Starfighter Ace Atara Striker. His emotional strength is his compassion, but his emotional weakness is his hatred.
Hi, I'm Mim, and I play Roy. I'm a modified B1 battle droid with a career as a hired gun, a specialization as a bodyguard and heavy, and an obligation of 40 to the Bar family. 'Cause I love you, bro.
Hi, I'm Ross. I play Dr. Smex Karamdanaloa, a Syrian consular healer whose emotional strength is his compassion, whose weakness is obstinacy.
Last episode, we had the entire party were in the heart of the planet of Syria, and they'd just finished examining something weird, and they were about to go and examine something else weird when they came out, and the machines that the weird cybernetic machine jellyfish things that they'd at this point ignored, old fresh batch had appeared and were waggling probes and weapons, and essentially, as we left the scene, laser pointers were being pointed at the party, the lighting had changed, and it all looked a little bit sinister as these probe droid cybernetic monster things had popped up almost out of nowhere and were shining lights and things that looked suspiciously like weapons. And we're going to enter something that the rulebook calls structured play, which is where I ask you all to roll for initiative. I'm going to assume that this is a cool check, unless you can argue that it's a vigilance check.
I'd rather it be vigilance, because I have slightly higher in that, but realistically I think it's cool. We've been on edge and ready for something to go down since we got here, so...
It's one of those situations where, because there's so much going on, I kind of like, it's your characterization as to how distracted you are at the time, if you see what I mean.
I mean, the doc's probably going to be distracted by a number of things, but fortunately my cruel and my vigilance are the same, so it doesn't really matter. So one of my brains has been very distracted by thoughts of ancestry and other God knows what, and the other brain is concentrating on, oh, look around me. So I have 2 success and 3 advantage.
I rolled 4 successes.
And I am super cool with rolling 2 successes on my one little green dice.
And I got 3 success, 3 advantage. Ed, if you tell me what the NPCs get, I will build the initiative order on Discord for us.
They got 1 success.
Are they a minion group, Ed?
They are a minion group. There's approximately 4 of them, but they are a single minion group, and they are going last.
Yes, they are. So it's all of us to go, and then them.
These are the little jelly things that could go through things, but they had cybernetic implants, meaning they probably can't.
So the cute jellyfishes that you encountered on the way through didn't have cybernetic things.
Yeah.
These jellyfishes have been mutilated, to use a word, and have had weird kind of, I don't want to use the word Cronenberg-esque, but I just have slightly sinister looking, kind of almost bioorganic looking, Geiger-esque kind of mechanical bits put onto them. You haven't examined them closely enough to do anything about it.
Ed is giving us visual props. I'm imagining basically a tribble that can walk through objects normally is been abducted by the Borg.
See, Roy is quite excited by this because he's like, oh, it's a jellyfish friend, but also a robot friend. This is brilliant.
I said they let the diplomat go first then.
I will be the bridge between your 2 worlds. I am the robot that understands the organics.
Ed, did that help?
I'm going to flash my eyes because I've been flashing with the jellyfish.
Yeah?
I'd like to spend an action flashing my eyes in a series of don't attack us, friend. Don't attack us, friend. Don't attack us, friend.
So what skill, Mim, is Roy, Mim, the player, what skill is Roy, the character, trying to use to make this effect happen?
Charm, probably.
I would argue charm, like, I don't think Gunnery or Brawl's going to help here with this approach.
It's not a skill I have.
It's just your presence then in greens.
1.
Difficulty would be 2.
Okay. Well, this is probably going to go about as well as I expected. So, 1 green and 2 purple. I got those skulls. 1 failure and 1 threat. So I imagine I come running back pretty quickly going, I don't got those skulls! As all of them, to fire at me.
You flash lights back at them, and at this point they've been flashing kind of dull, kind of relaxed tones. They all go completely red, and their tendrily bits spike out. And as one, firstly, all the lights are now pointing at Roy. They're all teamed up as a mass, and they've got you realise they've got little cybernetic tails with some sort of device on the end, and all of those are also all pointing at Roy.
Would anybody mind if I go next, please?
Yeah, fine. Go for it.
I think as Roy was going in, Tychus was about to stop him, realised that there was no point in that, but didn't trust these things in the slightest, so had Clementine up and charging. Kind of, there's that thrumming sound even over the sound of lava as she powers up. And then as Roy scampers back and this group of now hyper-aggressive cybernetic jellyfish things kind of clump together and start zeroing in on Roy, Tychus goes, okie dokie then! 2 actions to aim, Ed, and then I'm going to shoot. How far away from me are they, please?
They are short range.
Do they have any defence?
They don't. They have a trick, but they don't have defence.
Okay. So that's 2 yellow, 3 blues, 2 success, and a threat versus 1 purple.
Is this an area effect weapon?
It would have been had I got another advantage, which would have let me trigger blast. Unfortunately, I did not. I only got 1 advantage, but I did get 6 successes. So into the minion group, that's 17 damage pierce 1.
My God.
Ooh.
That's nasty.
One moment while I do a short amount of calculation to figure out exactly what's happened here. What does the bolt look like?
It is a supercharged bolt of plasma, is what spews out of Clementine since all the upgrades have gone into her. It's not a hugely long range weapon anymore as Clem, but she's potent within her range, and it's just this ball of superheated plasma which bursts out. Tychus's upper hands have to suddenly grab the top of Clem's barrel to stop the recoil pulling her up from it, and it shoots out like a sun and hits in the middle, and then tries to go super critical and burst, but I think maybe because the organic stuff around them, it shatters and spreads plasma across them all, but it doesn't go full supernova in the heart of them.
As the bolt goes through, one of them just explodes, and you see the material that's surrounding it melts as well. It also, because it has pierce, takes the one behind it as well. So 2 of them are just gone. The other 2, however, do that phase thing that you've seen them do, and there's a bob as the energy as they get exploded. The rest of them kind of there's a whom, but it's much more obvious as well when they do that kind of brief phase thing where they just go oop, and there's a slight movement upwards as well as they kind of bob and phase, and it's on to the next party now.
For my advantage, I'm going to give a bouncing boost to Mikey to go.
They're all kind of still focused, or at least the ones that are left are still focused on Roy, right? As if Roy has angered them. Would that be safe to say?
Yes, pulled aggro.
Yes, Roy has pulled aggro, as Adam has put it. The remaining 2 little monitor dot things, red laser line dot things, are still on. Roy is still being painted by that.
All right, well, I will, using quick draw, take out my lightsaber and ignite it. Okay. Walk up and stand in front of Roy, and then for my action, I'm going to shoot one of them.
Okay.
But I'm going to stand where those laser beams are pointing. I'm getting in the way of those shots.
Nice.
Which, for a man who didn't really rate droids as being a thing, is a big step. Okay, so that is 4 successes and a threat.
Roll your boost as well. I gave you a boost.
All right, okay.
Cancels out the threat.
Yep, so 4 successes.
Are there any special features on the pistol?
I got nothing. It was just successes, so it's just a straight 11 damage.
One of them pops effortlessly as it goes through. You see the bolt go through, and it's just unfazed from Tychus's blast. So it has no defense, so it just goes, and you see bits explode. And it is, unless there's anything else that you'd like to do, it is the Doc's turn.
The Doc is going to try and use the influence force power he has to confuse the last one.
Interesting.
it's a bit late to start casting peace, tranquility, and friendliness at the only survivor of the 4, but I'm going to go with confusion in the hope that you're going, have I just targeted a friend? Sort of friendliness, but hurt as well, as opposed to fear or something of, have you just attacked something that was far more dangerous than you expected?
Is it your intention to do harm in this place?
No, it's my intention to make it stop trying to attack us and behave threatening to us.
So the Heart of Syria is a +2 light side force versions, which means you get an extra 2.
2 light pips.
Yeah.
I have rolled 1 light side pip and 1 dark side pip. I would like to use 3 light side pips in this way.
So you're drawing on the power of the heart of the world that you're in?
Yes.
Okay.
This is going to go well, isn't it?
We'll deal with that in a moment. Tell me what the effect of your horsepower is, please.
I'm trying to guide and shape the thoughts. So I'm exuding sort of feelings of friendliness, but also feelings of hurt that you seem to be behaving in a threatening way. And confusion, of course, because we've just killed 3 of its friends.
So you sense conflict within, and the living being doesn't want to hurt you.
Okay.
And there's something inside it that wants to do something else.
Right.
And as you push with your powers, you connect to it, the force. You are able to make this other element just stop.
Okay.
At which point you feel the creature basically go, kind of almost shrug, like an emotional kind of like, oh, my headache's gone, I'm good now. And like you feel a kind of like energy come back, and it moves away from you.
Okay.
And it immediately moves onto the ground below you has, as I described before, these various patterns in these various areas. And it moves onto one of those patterns, and then all the cybernetic bits and the entire creature collapses.
Right, so the cybernetics are collapsed as the creature's sort of phased away from them?
The creature basically ceases to move. It essentially dies as you see something get pulled out of it and whisked away. Still connected to the forces you are, you feel the energy of... You feel that something malicious has been taken away through you, like, because you're still connected as this happens. You feel like a force of malice has been pulled and sent to that cave, to the cave of the sun.
Right.
And anything that remains of the creature, any energy that remains, is returned to the living force. And for a moment, you actually stare briefly into the life cycle of this world. It's less killed and it's more like it will come back again somewhere else.
Yeah.
It'll remanifest as part of it. And you realise that this creature is part of this area's ecosystem. It is unique to this part of the world, this part of the galaxy. And you also realise that you can connect to everything that's in here. You're mentally, you feel you can probably connect to the large guardian statues, and you also get a kind of insight as to the energies of the various places as well. It's fleeting, however, which is by drawing upon this room, you kind of draw upon the energy and you're like, oh, I easily connect here. Very easy for you to connect to the things here.
Before I relay what I've just experienced to the others, can I focus on the thing that just got drained away, so the dark impulse? So the cybernetics, the components, whatever mechanically is there, has just presumably dropped on the floor as whatever's left of the creature has disappeared.
Yes.
But the dark essence, there's a malevolent force influence that's just been pulled away from it. That was part of like the cybernetics was sort of injecting dark force energy into this otherwise light side creature.
That feels about right, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to learn anything from this, but I kind of sort of seek where the dark energy thing has pulled away to, what that's from.
You know that straight away. You know that it's been pulled to the Cave of the Sun. It's the same place where Ro went to.
Okay, so I would like to relay, while other people are going, are reacting, because I'm sure Tychus has got a word right now. I've just freed the last creature from the cybernetics. So
Have you killed something with your brain again, Doc?
I told it we were friendly.
Wow. Are we like your lucky friends in that we're your friends that you haven't killed with your brain? That is a really bad habit to get into. While Tychus is kind of joking, his eyes are scanning for any more of these threats coming in. Clementine is raised and humming with another charge being powered up. He's not relaxing his guard.
The only place they can possibly come from, you feel, is like where the lava is. Because that's where
we're surrounded by lava, and it's not reassuring.
Like anywhere where the river is, you feel they can come from. But the jellies that are, because there's still jellies floating around what I'm going to call the garden, they seem completely unfazed. Doc, These things are easily influenced by the Force, by the way. It would be, if you were on the surface world, you feel you could probably, if you knew how, you could probably get them to, like, they're so easily influenced, you could probably, get them to float across a continent to fetch you a cup of tea if you wanted to. It's that sort of a thing. There's almost no mind to influence.
Okay. Are the cybernetics on the floor, like, dead? Are the cybernetics themselves damaged?
If you want to go over there and start prodding on the cybernetics...
Well, my thought is, like, to the extent the Doc is aware of such things, Force users can be used, like the kyber crystals that are in lightsabers, that sort of thing. So presumably, if this sort of technology could inject Force power of some kind into a creature, there might be a way of injecting light side and medical, from medical applications of that sort of thing, of a non-invasive nature. So I'm aware this could be abused, but I'd like to grab the cybernetics if I can for future research.
These parts are a short distance away from you, so you'd have to walk towards them. Is anyone doing anything else?
I think mostly I'm just staying on high alert.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you like to roll here? Because I would say probably a medicine check would be appropriate here. If you want to look at medicine, you could also go for possibly mechanics.
Is this for the actual just analysis of picking up the thing and seeing what I can make of it? Just as a quick analysis of it?
Pick between xenology, medicine, or possibly education.
Cybernetics.
Cybernetics, if you have it.
I don't have cybernetics, but I've got base of 4 intelligence, so I might as well just... But I think that cybernetic feels most appropriate for analysing something of a cybernetic device nature, rather than strictly medicine. I mean, obviously, I want to look at the application of it at some point, but this is just for the future. So, what difficulty would you like?
I'm going to set this at 3.
I believe that's 2 success and 2 threat.
Okay, so take a point of strain.
Okay.
As you realise that this is still active and it stings you.
Right.
It doesn't do any damage, it's just like, it's still alive, it's still hot. You've looked at some of the stuff that you've taken from the temple, you've researched some, like, you're kind of familiar with, you've seen, for want of a better way, Tychus's artisanal lightsaber that you took from Ben Akai. You've seen what this sort of thing is. This is weird.
Okay.
But what it quite clearly is you're like, it's designed to synchronize with the creature, so it can only phase when the rest of the creature phases. It's running on whatever allows the creature to phase. It's drawing upon that energy. This will kill the creature quite quickly.
Right.
These seem to be quite easy. Like, the construction seems cheap. What other questions do you have about this device? You only have 2 successes, so you're not going to get...
Can I switch it off? I mean, if it's still active?
When you look at it, you realise that this is a probe-style device, and there is indeed a transmitter. The transmitter is off.
Okay, so it's no longer transmitting its harmful signal into anything.
You think so, because like the power's just gone all the way into your hand.
Right.
You probably need to find someone who's a bit more familiar with mechanics to actually figure out its function. But you know that what it does is this. You reckon this is probably some sort of ball form that someone puts it into the creature, and it just.
Okay, I mean
the word probe is very kind of.
Right. Okay. My critical thought at the minute, because I am aware that Tychus is still looking around at threats, is whether or not, if there's no more of these creatures around us, I would like to know if basically this is safe to put back in my pocket and research when we're back on the surface.
I mean, there's pockets on the outside of your environmental suit, so it shouldn't be able to burrow through the environmental seals from your pouch into your skin, hopefully.
I mean, it's just hurt me a little bit, so it's clearly just done something, but hopefully that's just the last of its spark. Okay, I attempt to pocket it for later.
Okay, it doesn't it doesn't have needles or anything. It doesn't feel like it's a thing designed for your physiology.
Okay.
Although Ed did just say does look like Borg tech, and you're like, stick it in my pocket.
What I'm actually doing is I'm holding this thing up to Tychus and saying, this thing looks like something that might have interesting medical applications later, but I don't want to risk, hurting us. Can this be safely stored somewhere, Tychus?
Absolutely. And Tychus takes it with one of his lower hands and just jams it into a pocket.
Excellent.
One of the Rob Liefeld-esque pouches that are on the outside of his armour just
really forces it in there. Just no delicacy.
I love the idea of in 4 years' time, Tychus being in the middle of combat and just pulling out this Geiger-esque nightmare and going, oh yeah, never got.
Just 455 pops out wearing it as a hat, looking very upset.
Look, Bar's Bespoke Borg is going to be a spin-off.
Okay, Right. It doesn't look like there's any more of these wee squiddlies coming out for us, so I think we're gonna need to crack on because we're running a bit low on air.
Absolutely.
So, right hand of the mother and hope that there's a route into the main section there that doesn't walk us through the Guardian fangs. Or at least see if there's a route up and over for when we get there. Okie dokie. Kay, do you want to take point? You're a wee bit of a better scrambler than me, or do you want me to just fire up my grapple gun and...
No, don't worry, I'll go. All right, put my weapons away.
So your options, just to remind the listener as well, is you've left the father's head, and you have the options are the son's head that you're convinced is dodgy. It appears to have the word evil written on it, you know what I mean? It's one of those, like every time you walk closer to it, the music changes to something a bit more threatening. And then you also have the daughter's left hand and the mother's left hand and the mother's right hand.
The right hand is closest to us, having come out the father from recollection of the... So that's where we're going to first, because the mother's mouth has the two Sphinx Guardian things, so we want to try and... The plan is, just so you're fully aware, is to go in through the hand and see if there's a route through to the centre without having to pass through those Guardians.
I'm good with that.
All right. So how do we get to the hand? Can we just walk around, or do I need to leap across?
If you want to leap in your big bulky suit, you kind of can, because there's lots of like ledges and verges, and again, to remind you, there's life here. It's weird life, and it's toxic to you, but it's all kind of like crystal, spiky bits and all the rest of it. But as you get closer to this side, the life reduces down to what is kind of a much clearer, much kind of smoother path.
I think the reason why we were suggesting the climbing is if, when we get to the hand, Kay can find a way where we don't need to go into the hand, but we can in fact use that to scale up and over down to the mouth of the mother without having to go through the Guardian field of vision. Because certainly Tychus thinks the mother's head is where the target is that we need to get to, but also doesn't want to walk through and risk triggering those Guardians. Yes, he's brave, yes, he's reckless, but he's also not stupid. And down here, where a tear in the integrity of the suit can have catastrophic things. If we were up on the surface, he'd just windmill in and have done with it and be confident that he can take it out, whatever. But down here, with it being such a hostile environment, he's really having to force himself to be cautious. And so that's the reasoning behind Kay going up and over, to see if we can belay our way over without having to go into the hand.
All right.
As you get closer to this cave, it's not overcome, but you have this feeling of peace within you. Mechanically, this would be a willpower check, difficulty 2, to completely ignore this feeling. But there is a feeling, it's like a passive feeling of someone saying, you don't need weapons here, there's no violence here, you are safe.
I'm good with that. I'm not going to roll.
I'm going to roll, and can I claim a boost because weapons is my life?
Yeah.
Thank you. Failure, but with an advantage. So, Tychus sheathes Clementine. Could my advantage be, though, that Tychus knows that this is being forced on him almost?
I feel like you get that automatically. What I'm going to say is, instead of that, because that feels like a waste of advantage, what I'm going to offer you is you can have a weapon drawn as your security weapon because of your nature, because of who you are. Like, you know, you've got a gun out. That doesn't mean that you're expecting violence. That's just, it's just how you dress.
In which case it will stay being Clem, because that's the only weapon that Tychus... Well, between Clementine and his vibro knuckles, Clem is the weapon that he carries. So, but yeah, I imagine in rest position, kind of angled down, charge off, safety on.
You don't feel like it's obvious that this is that it's being imposed upon you, and you do get the feeling of like you don't feel particularly inclined to use the weapon.
Yeah.
But you realise that that's an effect of where you are.
Okay, guys, I'm being made to feel like everything's great and peaceful, and there is no need for violence or threat here, and that this is a place where I could come and meditate and think and not have to worry about the dangers of the outside world, and I absolutely hate it. I do not like this at all.
Yeah, everything's great here.
Yeah, you would say that.
I like it. And Kay parkours up to the hand.
Ugh, this is horrid.
The doc is very briefly worried that was him, but because that's what he was trying to do to the little creature a moment ago. So
you feel an enormous sense of, if you're not resisting, you feel an enormous sense of connection. Are you going in?
Am I alright to assume that this doesn't affect Roy because it's a force effect and Roy, being a droid, is immune to the force?
Roy, you're not feeling it. Everyone else is behaving weirdly, but you're not feeling it.
I'd like to try and ride this sense of connection for a moment, and I'd like to try and use Force Seek again, because it didn't work last time.
What are you looking for?
I mean, what we're essentially looking for is a bar statue, so I think I want to find the location of any crystal statues that are nearby. Back me up, is that the right sort of thing?
I'd specify that the crystal statues we're looking for are not the ones that are in the father statue. Because that's full of crystal statues, and if Ed wanted to, he could go, yeah, they're just where you've been. I'd say that the hut statue specifically, because you know what that looks like and you know what that feels like in the Force.
Yeah.
We've been there. Around it, so that kind of signature, I'd say, is what you're probably looking for.
Yeah, I'm going to be specific along those lines. I mean, the Seek power does say allows the will of the Force to lead the way to something lost or forgotten, and I know where those things are because I was just there, so that's not lost.
Make your Seek roll. 2
light side points, which is exactly what it needs to gain insight into the general location or direction, regardless of distance. And then I need to make a vigilance check. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Difficulty 2.
Yes.
I have 2 success and 3 advantage.
You reach out with the living force. You realise that this is almost the eyes of Syria. This cave, this particular hand, feels like a way to interface not only with the world but the galaxy beyond. You feel your powers much enhanced, and you have a good feeling as to where you know where the hut statue is. You think it's all the way up into space on some sort of starship, and you are absolutely convinced that if you wanted to see more, you would need to go into that room.
Right, so I'm convinced at the minute that the hut statue we're looking for is in fact probably back somewhere near Akina Bale.
No, it's much closer. It's within orbit of Syria.
Right, but I still want to go into the cave.
You get the feeling that if you will find out more, so the vigilance check is you going, oh, every single aspect of this cave, every single line on this cave, every single gem work is a reflection of what I can see. You can see beyond through here.
Okay. I'm wary of the illusion of the piece that has been thrown upon us to some extent anyway, but at the minute I am trusting it.
It's up to you. Is the doc going through the mouth of this cave?
I'm going to go in, and probably unwisely, I'm going to lead the way.
Because you still have Force Seek active,
okay,
you are not overcome with, you feel that you are encouraged to be passive.
Okay.
But it's a suggestion, not a command. And as you enter the cave itself, it is essentially this beautiful crystalline structure that is full of perfect reflections. And because you're currently looking for you see an image of the deck of a starship, someone's starship chambers.
Right.
And Bracca's statue is there. And as you go, I need to see more, you can see a stormtrooper standing next to the statue looking incredibly bored. And it's like a view screen made out of illusions.
Okay.
And just to describe, as everyone walks into this cave, this is essentially, as you walk through, you are surrounded by domes of images, but you feel like the power is coming from the dock rather than the cave itself.
Is his head glowing?
He is glowing generally as lights from the cave, because he's in the central bit, if you see what I mean.
You're no fun, Ed. You're no fun. And his head glow like a light bulb down your eyes.
It's been 2 seasons. They want it back.
We know what our listeners want, and it's the duck's head glowing like an LED.
From Series 1.
Look, you travel the whole galaxy, you save so many people's lives, but your head glows one time.
So yes, you can see for miles and miles.
Is everyone else seeing this? Is there something on my head's up display?
Roy, there is frequencies here that are wild. Like, the frequencies here are wild, and you reckon you could probably tune into them fairly easily with the exotic and strange experimental toys that has been built into you by a bored Tychus. You're like, yeah, I can. And when they say, look at this, when you look at a facet, you can see what's on the facet, but you have to consciously.
I can tune in, decode it, and see it, and then I have to untune from that, tune in, decode another piece of information, and see that.
Yes, you have to do the robot processing thing, if you see what I mean.
I can see bits of it. Which bit in particular?
Is that the hut statue we're looking for? On the bridge of an Imperial starship?
How did they get here first?
Unless it's not one from this planet, it's one from one of the other temples that we're trying to get to.
Oh, we keep seeing visions of the future. They might not have it yet. It could still be here.
Doc, you were seeing, like, this is a live feed.
This is happening now. It's right there, right now.
Can I analyse previous viewings of the hut statue or details with the one that we're looking at and compare the two?
Yes, as you look more at the hut statue itself, it is unfinished.
Oh, it's a different statue.
It's a different statue.
Okay, so we're in essentially a surveillance center of Syria, where the planet can see anything that's going on around it.
To your senses,
Yeah.
you don't need to make a force roll for seek in this place, by the way. It is assumed that you make at least 2 light side. But you could spend too much time here, which is the inherent danger, because you'll run out of air.
Yeah, I mean, I want to focus on the thing, but my inner distraction is going, can I see my house from here? But
Is this the statue from this planet, or is that the statue from another planet? Because if that's the statue from this planet, I don't know how they've got here before us. If it's not the statue from this planet, I reckon we still do the one from this planet to make sure, because that's currently in Imperial hands, and, like, I don't know if we're going to be able to get that back, being honest. Like, us, small group, versus a star ship of that, like, the Imperials are big, and I don't think they're going to give it to Braca, and it looks like that one's not finished, which means they need the carver, which we've currently got, and if it looks like they're going to get that, I'll just break the damn thing. So, right. If that's that, what we need to do here is see if there is still a hut statue, and also, thinking more laterally, as I have been doing, we also want to see if there's a human statue so we can destroy that too.
Doc, what are you concentrating on looking at? Because at the moment you have like a single image of a bored-looking stormtrooper and the statue. You can look further out if you want. You can zoom out.
I want to vocalize what I'm thinking at the minute, which is that if the planet, if this place has essentially an observation center to see, I don't know, threats before they arrive, invaders, people who might be coming to destroy the temple, that sort of thing. Presumably it has other forms of defenses which we may also be able to use. I'm not saying, the temple hides, has a the mountains are going to slide back and reveal a death ray that's going to point at some spaceship in space, but we might have something else that can take out Imperial defenders. And on behalf of my planet, I kind of like that idea a little bit, because the Empire above is not nice. But I want to vocalize that rather than actually trying to seek out whether this thing has any weapons immediately, because I don't want to activate.
As you go through that thought process, another facet opens, and like Roy, when you receive that signal, you can look at it as well. You just, you have to visibly look and calibrate. As you talk about the process, you kind of get a vision of the cave.
Okay.
And the realization that you're literally in the largest amount of force-sensitive crystalline material that the galaxy has ever seen. And like, you realize that the structure that you're in is actually literally heart-shaped, and you are in the heart of a heart, and it is a massive force-sensitive crystal that could power worlds.
So we are either sat in the middle of a bomb, or this is a kyber mine waiting to happen as well.
Well, it's not easy to get to.
No, but we managed it.
I think it's less of a kyber mine, but more of the spiritual heart of your people. From what I understand of what happens to your people, everything goes through here.
Am I the only one thinking that while we're down here, we might as well get some more lightsaber crystals for us?
If there are pieces loose from this, maybe. If it's all one piece, I don't want to chip at it.
Tychus puts the crystal carver back in his pocket and hopes that no one noticed him.
This is probably the heart of this world spiritually.
So you have an option to wander your vision when Tychus says, "Oh, I'd quite like some snackies." Do you let that vision wander?
No, my vision isn't wandering. My wandering at the minute is, what would happen if I tried to make everybody think I was their friend, including the entire population of a Star Destroyer?
The dog's gone mad with power.
Well, look, yes.
What are your force powers, Adam? I can jump high.
Do not make the planet jump high.
I can slowly move small things near to me. I could cheat at dice with my force powers.
Well, let's get a trampoline and some cards and we're sorted.
Theoretically, and this isn't a force power, but you could, I don't know, put my mind and personality into the Star Destroyer, potentially, if you find the right kind of access port to link me into the navigational systems or somewhat. Because I know you can do that with certain types of droid. Then I'd be the Star Destroyer.
Yes.
Yes.
As the Doc's mind thinks about, power and weapons, you get an image of the weather, of clouds, of sun, of storms on your world, of rain and of lightning.
Okay.
That sounds foreboding.
Are you letting your focus slide back to the room, or are you trying to...
Since we're in observation, I want to sort of get a general sense of where we are, just from our point on the planet. So if, we've got a general sense of there is a Star Destroyer above us, and I want to know more about that. But before that, in between that and us is the surface over us and any Imperial attempt to mine down to us. Are there other people on the way here? Are we still weeks ahead of everybody, or are they closer than we think?
So you return your vision to the park.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you're taken at how beautiful the park is and how beautiful the surface is. And yet again, you see a vision of those dodgy criminals who had the little devices that were doing an illegal survey.
Right.
But you are able to kind of see more of the park, and hidden in the park, there is a small encampment, and hidden in a tent, there is a blue-skinned Imperial man dressed in robes with crystalline structure on the side of his face, and you realise that that's the General Kenobi, the Force-sensitive user that you have hacked, learnt the name of, and been generally investigating, who right now has one of the other jelly-like creatures and is in a kind of some sort of dark rite, is trying to put this device onto this poor thing. And as we see this incredibly cute creature and a horrible thing happening to it, we will leave the session there.
But wait, before we leave you, yet another patron thanks, 2 in a row. Feeling very loved at the moment, y'all, and feeling very loved, and by none more so than Axel, who is this episode's patron. Axel is another one who's joined us through Dice Company. He's not a player on that show, but he's part of their fandom. And as we're stealing their listeners and fans, hopefully they can say the same about you. And I'm hoping that some of you will have given that show a try. Thank you so much, Axel, for joining us. We really do appreciate it. It really does make a difference. It is great to have you here. Thank you to all of our patrons as well. I forgot to thank you all last time round. I'm going to thank you all this time round. You're amazing. And thank you to our listeners who are also amazing. You are wonderful and what keeps everything going. Right, that is enough of that. You look after yourselves, my darlings. Stay safe, remain delightful. And as always, we will see you next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Edge Studios. Our intro music is by the amazing Sly Fox Audio. Check out more of her work at soundcloud.com/SlyFoxAudio. Our outro music is Suburban Outlaw instrumental version by Forget the Whale, used with gratitude under a Creative Commons license. Many of the sound effects and soundscapes are created using Sirenscape, because epic games need epic sounds. If you're enjoying the show and want to support us, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/ForceMajeurePod, where for as little as $1 a month you get access to outtakes, adverts, various other stuff, and my fortnightly ramblings. You can drop us a coffee at ko-fi.com/ForceMajeurePod, or you can leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to interact with us, there's a few ways you can do that. We are on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter as @ForceMajeurePod, and we're over on Mastodon as @ForceMajeurePod at dice.camp. You can also join our Discord, link in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening and being with us as we tell these stories. We hope you are having fun, and we will see you next time.